All right, and we are live. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Undead 3XVI, and welcome to the Gaming Perspective Podcast, episode 22. And I forgot to pause the video, so I'm hearing myself in my own headphones. That is annoying. All right. We're off to a good start. So we have the usual panel with us tonight. I've got Mr. Samuel Tolbert.
Hey there, how's it going?
Who's, of course, the editor for Tick Games Network because I screwed up his intro right off the bat. And we have from Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, Mr. Eric Jackson.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And joining us from Digital Hoarders, the legendary Dan Rodriguez, who has some of the most hilarious tweets that ever show up in my feed on a regular basis.
That is very kind of you, sir, but also, I don't know about legendary. You should hear some of the behind-the-scenes talk we have. So, but thank you guys for having me on. It's awesome. Excited to be here to do this shit.
Yeah.
Wait, can I guess on this podcast? Wait a minute. I gotta let me get this out of the way first because there's usually there's no holds barred, but I want to make sure we're like M for mature.
Yeah. No. We're like. How do we put this? Sam, what would you consider our Peggy rating? Like 16 plus?
We're like Peggy 16.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, so like as long as we don't got any nudity and like I keep the C word used to a minimal, we're usually pretty good.
I don't make any promises, but we'll see what happens. It's Saturday, boys.
Yeah.
The code is more like guidelines rather than actual rules. You know,
right. We're an Inner Circle affiliate, but we don't fall under the same rules, so we don't have to follow the PG-13. There's one F-bomb per show because I'd be fired so fast. So
fantastic.
We're gonna get into it, but first, I had a couple of questions for Dan.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna start doing this with our guests as we bring them on, get to know them a little bit and introduce them to the audience a little bit more. So I was on Digital Hoarders as a guest before you were on as a permanent member, and then I came back on when you were a permanent member, which was awesome. But What brought about you getting on Digital Hoarders?
You know, we did that episode actually together when Matt passed away, and right after that, the guys just, got in a DM and asked me if I wanted to come on, and that was it, man. I was like, yeah, I've been watching the show since the beginning, so it was kind of one of those things where it's like, let me get the equipment, and I'm on. We'll do this. So it's super addicting because not only do I do that one now, but I also do one with a couple of guys. One of the guys that live around here. It's called the Season Gaming Podcast.
Oh,
with Ainsley and Bert. They just invited me on, so I just became a member of that podcast like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it's just been busy, but it's fun. That's the best part about this. It's super addicting. It's fun. You can talk about video games because most of my friends don't play video games that are, in real life here. So,
yeah, same here.
Yeah, my wife can't stand them, so I got to get. This is my outlet. So it's.
Same here.
I literally had to kick her off the computer tonight, and she's super mad because Kansas State is playing, and priorities though. Priorities.
I hear you on that. Yeah, no, podcasting is like one of the most addictive and weird things that it sneaks up on you. You do it once, and you're like, it's kind of fun. I don't mind doing this. All right, it's like the Sam experience. You see, you do one, then all of a sudden you're on 3.
Yes. Yep. This is true.
I mean,
don't worry. Wait till I start pitching the mini series on this channel, and I drag Sam into that on a weekly basis too. You just wait. All right, so we're gonna dive into this a little. So the main topic tonight is mainly going to be Sam being insanely aroused through this whole episode because we're going to be talking about CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077. And he's already got that grin on his face like he knows what I'm talking about here. So we finally got to see the demo for Cyberpunk 2077. This game was announced back in what was it, 2017, 2016? When did they officially announce that, Sam?
Officially, this game was announced in the reveal trailer was in 2013. The CGI trailer of the bullet. Everyone's seen it, like the bullet hitting the woman's head, and it's sort of ambiguous. You can't tell if she went crazy and, you know, psycho or whatever and killed a bunch of people or not. That was the teaser trailer. So it was actually revealed before The Witcher 3 was. But they actually said at the time, like, hey, this is a side project. We're not working on this in full force. Witcher is still our main goal right now.
Mm.
So, obviously, that has changed.
Clearly. So it was surprising to me. I'm not going to lie. I kind of figured that we might see like 5-10 minutes of gameplay, but they gave us 48 minutes of gameplay, which is an unprecedented amount of gameplay. Usually when you see a gameplay reveal, it's 5-10 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes. But typically preview gameplay, you only get you get a gist of a level or something. But they literally showed off a ton of different mechanics and a ton of the different things you can do. So I want to kind of get your guys' thoughts on what you thought of what you saw. And I understand, like, if you guys didn't sit through, like, all of you guys didn't sit through the full 48 minutes, but just kind of did like a breeze through. I understand that. But what were some things you noticed that you liked? We'll start with things you liked. So we'll start with Sam.
That's a bad idea, but geez, it's probably easier to say what I didn't like. I mean, CD Projekt Red, we were talking about this before the show went live in a little pre-podcast chat, but every time they make a game, they raise the bar. From Witcher 1 to Witcher 2, huge jump. From Witcher 2 to Huge 3, massive jump. And now they're completely abandoning that style of game. Like, it's not a third-person, action RPG. It's now a first-person shooter RPG more in line with, like, Deus Ex or Prey or Dishonored even than it is, with something like The Witcher, apart from the storytelling. And it's incredible. It looks amazing. I really don't know where to start. The level of detail that they've got in every single scene rivals most games really that are smaller in scale. The types of decisions the branching paths are going to be able to do, the level of detail in the animations from a first-person perspective, the character customization, the weapons, the body mods. Like, if you guys saw in the gameplay, when you get an eye implant to actually have your heads-up display so you can see your ammo from your guns and all that, you don't just apply an upgrade in like a checkmark box in a menu or whatever, or swap out an equipment on some menus. You literally go to this Ripper doc who takes your eyeball out, and because it's in first-person perspective, you can see your body, and he's operating on the eye, implants it, then pops it back into your skull, and he's like, okay, you're good to go now. Let's go.
Love it.
And it's just, it's awesome. I love it. It's crazy. I'm going to stop and let someone else go right now. Because seriously, CD Projekt Red is coming for the industry by the throat. And I'm not kidding when I say that. They're in their own ballpark at this point.
Eric.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump in and say I stopped watching the demo with about 10 minutes left because that was one of those things where it's like I've seen enough, and in a good way. That's just kind of how I go about things sometimes. Like, at this point, just give it to me. I already know I'm buying it. I already know that I'm playing it. Now I just want to be surprised by all of it, right? And as somebody who's like right now, like 220 odd hours into The Witcher 3 and trying to finish up the last expansion, Blood and Wine, what they're doing with this game, it's like I'm seeing it and it feels fresh, right? Mm-hmm. And I know people online were kind of saying, like for them it looks like a regular first-person shooter. I don't know what they're looking at because I've not seen personally, even outside of Fallout, which you guys know I'm not the biggest Fallout guy. Mm-hmm. I've not seen a game that is already setting up the level of detailed customization that this game is doing. Mm-hmm. And then also kind of following the path of this storyline that they're showing. And from what I'm understanding, that's a side mission. And I can completely believe that because how the Witcher 3 structure is. Mm-hmm. Like some of the side missions in Witcher 3 are more detailed and more engrossing than some of the main story beats. So, like we were saying before we went online, and how Sam was saying, where CD Projekt Red goes is it's almost like they don't want to do a game unless they can take everything they learned from a prior game and infuse it into their new game, and you can already see what they're trying to do with Cyberpunk. So I'm hyped for it.
Well spoke.
Yeah. Dan. Yes.
All right. So when it came out and I watched it for the first time, it was one of those things where I said to myself, and I tweeted this out, if Pong was my alpha, this might be my omega. There are times where I kind of sit here and I look at, my 500, 600, 700 games, and I'm like, what? I'm never going to finish every one of them. And I'm 42 years old, soon to be 43, and it just gets harder and harder sometimes to continue to put a lot of effort into the gaming, hobby. I love it, and there's no age limit. I know that, gaming's for everybody. But there's times where I'm like, man, I need to slow down. And then I saw this game and watched the 40-something minutes, and I was like, this might be that last game that I really, really seriously play and just like say, you know what, that's it. That's it. I mean, and it's early, and this might be, I might be talking out of my ass. I don't know. And there might be something that comes from, between now and then that looks even better. I don't know. So, but as of right now, I can see myself finishing my gaming hobby on that game. That's how good it looks to me personally. So we'll see. I'd say I got about a 10% chance of that actually happening. But, I couldn't think of a better game just based on that 45 minutes to go out on. That's what I thought of that whole trailer. So,
hey, it's looking like that game that, like what you just said, man. If you're gonna go out, it looks like the game.
Yeah, I mean, you hit that peak sometimes.
Right.
And it's like, you know what? That's it. I'm good.
Right.
I've got to say, like, on my own, like, I haven't really played The Witcher 3. It just didn't grab me the way it should. But the key thing for me is just diving into a 100-hour RPG with my time restraints right now is incredibly difficult, because for me, it's like if I play an RPG, I've got to be able to sit down every day for like 4 hours and play it, because I need that immersion, because I feel like the first hour I'm getting into the game, then the next 3 I really enjoy it. And if I can only play in 1 hour blocks, I never hit that point where I'm like fully immersed. I'm sitting there like chasing my kid, or like my kid's trying to like steal something off the shelf. I'm like, hey, stop that. And then I get killed because I was fighting something, and it's just the worst. But the amount of detail that CD Projekt Red has in Cyberpunk 2077 and how much detail Rockstar has put into Red Dead Redemption 2 in open world games. This is the biggest thing that blows me away, is because when people are saying they're comparing all these games, they're like, oh, well, it doesn't look nearly as good as this game, or visually it doesn't look as good as this game. It's like, yeah, but those are linear games. This is an open world game that looks this good. Like, the amount of immersion that's going to come, and I don't get the people that are upset about it being not being third person. I don't get
it either.
Because I don't find third person games immersive personally. I like, there's some good games that are great, but like some of the most immersive games that I've been playing, Kingdom Come Deliverance, and Prey is another great example. First person perspective is hugely great way for immersion. Now I can understand when people are like, well, you have all these customization options that you never see. When was that an issue for the past 25 years of playing FPS games? Like,
and not only that, but there's going to be plentiful cutscenes that you're going to see your character in. They're in cutscenes or like certain animations. It's going to swap to a perspective where you can see them, and you'll always see them in the menus and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't prefer first person or third person. It's a choice, but third person from a design perspective works best when you're playing a character. It's not supposed to be you. It's a character. Witcher 3, it's an RPG, but it's an RPG along the lines of WWGD. What would Geralt do? You can't just pull out a sword like in Skyrim and just start slaughtering villagers. That wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't work. But with Cyberpunk, you're playing as V. V is U, and U is V. So it's I'm being serious. Like that's the best way to put
CD
it.
Project Red, hire this man.
Yeah, like what's the difference in playing like Soap McTavish in Call of Duty?
Mm-hmm.
And you're taking on that character. You don't see him. Like you said in the third person game, like with like The Witcher, you're playing as Geralt. So that makes a lot of sense. Like in Gears, you're playing as, JD or Marcus or whatever. It makes a lot of sense.
Right. God of War wouldn't work in first person. That'd be absurd.
Right.
You couldn't do it. But you couldn't.
It's like, can we try?
I mean, you're welcome to try, but I don't think it would work.
Someone tag Corey. Someone tag Corey. He seems very responsive on social media these days.
Except for in God of War 3 when he put hands on who was it and ripped his head off?
Poseidon. Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. Yeah, there was that. But that was
pretty crazy.
That was one cinematic though. That was one key.
Right.
Not the game.
But as far as it goes, it's interesting to see because I feel like part of the problem I was running into in like 2016, 2017 is open world games have been feeling really samey. I'm gonna say is like there's not a whole lot of I don't want to downplay other developers because there's developers that have done great things for open world games, but the innovation seems a lot slower in the open world genre. Like graphical fidelity wise, Horizon Zero Dawn pushed the envelope considerably higher. But there were still details and then things that game could have done better. Melee combat, yada yada yada. I've said it numerous times on this podcast. But with Cyberpunk and Red Dead 2, we're getting like details that you see in like linear games in smaller spectrums.
Right.
We're getting that detail. Like I made that joke 2 episodes ago about the 4K horse testicles, which no one on Twitter has let me live down yet. Thank you for your DMs and your screenshots and your Google searches. But the thing is that the level of detail that's in these games, and the moment Sam pointed out with the eye, to me, the level of detail that went into that scene, I was just like, wow. And like, was anyone else just like floored? The driving looks amazing. I want that car. I need that car. Like I need that car in my like driveway like yesterday.
Yeah, like real life.
Or like Digital Foundry even point out in their breakdown, they do an excellent technical breakdown of a lot of the stuff going on there. Like the AI, if you look, the pedestrians are waiting on the light to change before they cross the street. And the subtle details like that. It's crazy.
It's just gonna be too much, man. I mean,
yeah, and you think the thing too that floors me away with Cyberpunk 2077 is how immersive the world looks, how big it looks, everything else. And then you think about the amount of side content CD Projekt Red likes to stuff into their games. Like, I have a friend, he's been playing The Witcher 3, I swear, for 9 months now. I'm like, so you finished the game, man? He's like, almost. I'm like, what do you mean almost? You've been almost for 5 months and that's all you play. He's like, yeah, I've been doing side content. Like, how much damn side content is there? He's like, I don't know. I'm like 250 hours in. I'm still doing side content. I'm like,
Eric knows.
I'm here to witness. Like I said, I'm like 222, 225 hours in. And I'm on, Blood and Wine. And you're tackling side quests. And you're like, you know what? While I'm in this area, let me tackle some of these question marks. So
yeah, because like, I'm in the area. I might as well do it.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's a dangerous rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game for like an OCD gamer, But none of it feels like a chore. Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of a brilliant balance,
No, it's
when
the thing
sorry,
with Witcher.
Go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. The Witcher 3. I'm trying to figure out how many damn hours I had on it. It's probably upwards of 300, but I also have had 300 hours on Metal Gear Solid 5, which is really terrible. And I question my choices, my gaming choices. Like, how much could I have gotten done in that amount of time playing that damn game? I don't even know what took me 300 hours. I've got 317 or something hours in that game. It makes me sad. But The Witcher 3, having 300 hours in that game I remember it. I remember the small little details. I enjoyed myself the whole time. It never felt like it was dragging along. It was just always good and a good pace and fun. It was really, really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
So wait, if you regret the 300 hours, if I heard you right, that you spent in Metal Gear Solid 5, does that mean you were ashamed of your words and deeds?
What? I don't even know what that means, but let me tell you something. Yes, whatever.
It was the infamous Kojima meme about how quiet was dressed and how people who were making fun of it beforehand were going to be ashamed of their words without the big, deep, dark secret in the game.
I don't know what, just totally off topic, but I mean, was it Ghost? Is that who it was? What was her name? Quiet. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, man. That one scene, I'm like, what the hell is it? It's just, some people love Kojima. I think the guy's a nutcase, but the guy does stuff. I don't know what that stuff is, but he does stuff.
He does do stuff.
He definitely does stuff.
Never been a Kojima guy. But there you go. Whatever. Quiet. Okay. Yeah. Here comes my hacking up a lung. You're welcome. Jamie me.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's funny. It's like with Witcher 3, like Sam will tell you, for so long I was kind of like, well, I started it and then I stopped because this other game pulled me in, and now I went back to Sam and said, the hell was wrong with me? Because there's no reason there should have been any other game that pulled me away from this game.
Tried to tell you.
But once, but now it's got its hooks in me, and now it's like other games are like suffering. But going back on something Dan said, as we get older here and time is like more constrained, it's just you definitely pick and choose like where am I going to spend that time.
Absolutely.
And
there's so much to do.
Yeah, and like I told you guys earlier, I told Sam I'm not finishing out 2018 without having finished The Witcher. And 2018 is kind of be that year where a lot of the games I have are games that are super long, right? So be it. I missed out on XYZ. I can't keep up with everything, but I'm going to just play the games that are meaning the most to me, have caught my interest, have been critically acclaimed, whatever the case may be. And you guys know some of the lists I'm going to go back to. But Dan's right. When you look at a game like Cyberpunk, you're sort of like looking at it like, I can see this game being the game that I will put all that focus into. Doesn't really matter what else comes out.
Yep.
It'll wait.
Exactly. It's one of those games where it's like nothing else better drop near it, because there goes the second half of the year or the first half, whatever.
Now,
I mean, if it's that much bigger, they say 3 times bigger than The Witcher 3. I mean,
including density. It's a much denser environment, like with the taller buildings and the undercity and like almost like a hive world type structure and stuff like that. So I don't think it's like 3 times wider than Witcher 3, but it's definitely 3 times bigger when you include how tall or how deep things go.
What if it's like 3 times the amount of content? I mean, if that's the case, I'm done. I'm done for like a year.
I mean, what are they going to do? Like give it to reviewers 2 months in advance?
You almost have to. I mean, I have 366 hours in The Witcher 3. I don't know if that counts for the DLCs or not, but I can see myself easily passing 500 in that game, if not closer to 1,000. Which, and the game I've seen 45 minutes of it, and a little tiny trailer back 5 years ago, whenever it was, so it's stupid for me to make that kind of those kind of things, say those kind of things, with as little as I've seen, but I trust them to make an amazing game. So.
Well, see, this is the thing, and this is why I keep bringing up Rockstar with Red Dead Redemption 2. It's because between CD Projekt Red and the people mistake quality for sales value. The original Witcher game, I encourage you, if you're a fan of The Witcher 3, go pick up the first game on PC. It's fantastic. The second one's available through Xbox backwards compatibility. It's fantastic as well. CD Projekt Red and Rockstar have consistently made insanely good games. Like Rockstar has had a few misses through the years, but even their misses, like for example, we'll call Manhunt a miss because it was too violent for the time and not a lot of people could buy it, et cetera, et cetera. But even that game has its own fan base. So you think about some of the games that Rockstar has put out that push boundaries in ways that people never even thought possible, like LA Noire, with how they did the graphical, the absolute insane graphics in that game for that time period that it was released. The whole detective system, all the things they did with that game were so unique, and no one's ever really touched that genre again after that. And
Right.
Brandon, your favorite game's Manhunt. That's your favorite Rockstar game? My man. Brandon's forever in the cool kid book now. But seriously, they just deliver high quality games all the time, and that's why people trust them. Continue.
Yeah,
Yep.
CD Projekt Red is in that league with Rockstar, and they may be about to leap them. Where every time they make a game, they raise the bar. Every time they do a game, there's something new that pushes the industry forward. And in an age where I'll just say it, there's too many games, and there's too many open world games in particular, it's good to see that kind of quality develop. It really is. On just these insane scales.
And with all these insane open world games coming out, Ubisoft should drop thinking about doing Watch Dogs 3 and just make Splinter Cell.
Oh, good Lord. Why'd you bring up Splinter Cell? We're still stinging from that dude. We're still stinging.
I'm hurt. I am emotionally hurt. But no, seriously. And like, I really want to give credit to some of these Eastern European developers that have been making steady progress and making amazing games. You can look at CD Projekt Red. I feel like 4A Games deserves a mention for the Metro series.
They're getting up there too. Yeah, they're doing well.
I think Metro Exodus will probably be their Witcher 3. Like I'm not saying it's going to hit Game of the Generation status or anything else, but it looks like the amount of improvements and everything they're bringing to that game, the amount of development time, it's going to be insane. And it's interesting to see all these different developers tackle things in different ways. I think people try to spend too much time detracting from games. Like I'll never understand, like, we've got this like there's this constant fanboy mentality on Twitter, and I don't understand why multi-platform games suffer from it because everybody can play them. Like I literally saw there was a few guys I followed that were just like, nope, Cyberpunk looks horrible. Just looks like a Doom ripoff. I'm like, what?
What? What was that? So I can find them and punch them in their face. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
whoever said that, find me. Like, I don't even care. Watching this show an hour later, find me.
As a statement, it doesn't even make sense.
No, no.
It's like, did you play Doom? You know, it's like, yeah, I'm with you, Nick. It's like it's interesting, man. People, it's weird. It's like people, if you have joy around something and you're excited, it's like people don't like it, and I have to do something to like bring you back to the reality that outside life kind of sucks, and you can't enjoy nice things, and I have to somehow figure out a way to shit on it.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
My feed is pretty clear anymore, from that kind of stuff. But it pops its head up every once in a while. But just play your damn games and shut the hell up. What the hell? I mean, if you've got this much time to sit there and critique, and make dumbass comparisons like this looks like Doom. Get the hell off of Twitter.
There's too much to do for me to get bogged down with that, and I actually have to review games. I have to point out what's bad about them in some cases. Like, if you're not interested in something, it's okay. Just breathe and let it go.
Like there's games that pop up in my feed. I'm just like, yeah, I don't have really any interest in that. That's fine. Like, perfect example, Days Gone. I really don't have an interest in that one. Like I'm interested in the tech behind it because there's some really cool horde tech that goes on in that game. I'm interested to see what that game will push forward. But personally, I don't really care for it. And so I don't talk about it. I don't I don't tweet about it. I don't write about it. I just don't have an interest. I don't talk about it. It's these guys that are like, I'm not interested in this game. 20 tweets later, still talking about it.
Yeah.
But aren't you?
And I think where people get themselves into trouble is it's like they feel it's their job to convince you on a lot of things. It's their job to convince you why you're wrong for not wanting a particular game, or convince you why you're wrong for liking a particular game, or convince you why you're wrong as far as having an opinion on what a developer is doing. Especially, and it all falls into how they feel about it. So it's like, instead of saying, why do you feel this way? And let's have like a dialogue about it so I can understand your perspective and maybe I can learn something. It's always, what? Like, how the hell? How can you not want to play this game? How can you not like it as much as I'm going to like it? It's like, it's completely possible.
Yeah.
There's 100 different types of games that come out monthly and we're not all going to like the same thing. And that's fine. We can dialogue.
Like, you can have a change in perspective. That's allowed to as well. Like, Cyberpunk, I was kind of on the fence about. Like, I was like feeling Sam's hype and I was happy for him.
Mm-hmm.
But like, after seeing the gameplay, sign me up. I'm there. And same thing with like The Last of Us. I'm not the biggest Last of Us fan, but after seeing The Last of Us 2 gameplay, sign me up. Day one, I'm there.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Looks amazing.
And like, sometimes if you stop screaming at the top of your lungs and trying to convince somebody why they're wrong and just have a talk with them about why they like a particular game, or you may find that what you didn't like about it, maybe I need to go back and give that a shot, because your energy level, your hype level for it, and how you're talking to me about it, maybe I was a little harsh on it. Maybe I overlooked something. Let me go back in and try it. And if you do, maybe go, you know what? You were absolutely right. Coming to it from your perspective, I saw it differently. Or you go back and say, yeah, hey, man, guess what? I gave it another shot. Like, I don't get it. But hey, it is what it is. We're cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Except Oxenfree. That game can suck it.
Oh, damn.
Oh, no.
I had to get it in.
Oh, no.
Actually, it's kind of funny because we've got a Q&A question for you based on Oxenfree. So
yeah, what is it? Yeah, I don't know. I know who that's from. Son of a bitch.
But no, that's the thing, is trying to get intelligent game conversation on a social media platform is impossible. Like, a perfect example, if anyone here follows Forget Amnesia on Twitter.
Oh yeah, great guy.
Yeah. He makes threads constantly because he develops video games. So he likes talking about the things that go into making a video game. And whenever he talks about something that a fanboy might take offense to, literally he'll do like an 8-tweet thread of these paragraphs talking about the complexities of game design. And there'll be like a 4-word thing at the bottom. It's like, you're stupid. I'm like, what? Like, what is it? What part of this do you disagree with? Oh, well, he doesn't like this kind of game that I like that's on my favorite platform. Okay. But that doesn't make him stupid. Your intelligence level is not indicative of what you like. Because, like, if I sat there and went, okay, if you don't like the original A-Team, you're dumb. Like, like you start if you take it out of the context of video games and you put it into the context of other things, it becomes increasingly more stupid. Like, Dan likes Pepsi? What the Dan? Like, honestly.
I hate
like,
Pepsi.
Get it together, Dan. Seriously.
What? I am not a Pepsi guy. Don't put that in my bio. That's some bullshit. It's Coke from a fountain. It's delicious. Thank you.
And Alden, just to make you feel better, yes, I do have a list of all your favorite games. I do like to point out how little I like all of them on a weekly basis. Brandon supplies me the list. It's fine.
Damn it.
All right. So yeah, like, does I like this? I had to put this in because with any topic we always ask, does anyone have any concerns about Cyberpunk? Like, are you worried there's not going to be enough puddles? Like
Don't.
Well, I don't like the fact that they used the woman protagonist to do the demo, and I just think that's terrible.
Eric, you can go in your corner and be wrong while I'll continue rewatching.
Oh.
I have no complaints, man. Like I said, my only complaint is that we still have to keep waiting.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, if the hype levels, for me, this is probably the biggest game the most hyped game for me. I mean, coming out within the next however many couple years. So it has got a huge standard to hit. So that worries me a little bit. But like I said, I trust these guys that made good games in the past. They made one of my favorite games of all time. So I'm just going to go with it, see what happens.
Exactly. I think CD Projekt Red is like one of a handful, probably like 3 or 4 devs I can think of that's like, yeah, I trust you. It'll be what you say and more. Let's go. When do we think this is coming out?
From the financial, because I'm the numbers guy, as I always joke with Samabeg. Thanks to I can't remember his full Twitter handle, but Dom, he works for the NPD group. They said based on the CD Projekt Red's fiscal financial statements, it's looking like Cyberpunk 2077 will be slated for a Q3 2020 release date.
Damn it, that's so long.
I'm not surprised, but I mean, of course, that could be a placeholder. That could be a placeholder. We'll see.
Well, he said.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
The basic financial gist of it is they're sitting on because CD Projekt Red financially has hit the peak where The Witcher 3 is still selling enough where they're making money, but they're not bringing it in mountain loads. They've kind of plateaued.
Right.
So they figure they're going to start marketing and they're going to start dipping into that cash fund to start pushing Cyberpunk 2077 and also take into account as well. One of the developers said that the game is playable front to back.
That's crazy.
Right. Now, I mean, to be fair, there can be a big leap between there and polish. Like, I remember Cory Barlog mentioned that God of War was playable front to back in like January 2017. Still ended up being another year and a half. To get it to the polish to where it needed to be. So I'm just saying let's not run crazy with that. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping for 2019, but I think early 2020 to mid 2020 probably is a more realistic date, in all honesty. Like right before the next gen of consoles starts rolling in.
We always see with it always seems like we get some really, really, really bomb games just at the tail end of the generation. Like you look at the tail end of like last generation, and we got like The Last of Us. Like, what was it? Like 9
in June?
Months? Yeah,
June 2013. Yep.
Yeah, June of 2013, right before PS4. Like you
and Tomb Raider was the reboot was a 2013 game. What else? There was a couple of other really big ones too.
Technically, God of War Ascension, even though it was slightly disappointing for a God of War title, that technically is a notable title.
Gears of War Judgment, Halo 4 was November 2012, so almost,
Oh God, Halo 4, God of War Ascension, and Gears of War Judgment. There's 3 disappointing things I never want to have to talk about again.
Nick, Halo 4 had a good story. We've been over this, Nick.
But it didn't. I'm going to put this in my Twitter bio. I hate the things you love. That's just going to be my new tagline. Except for Oxenfree, because I love Oxenfree.
God damn it! I gotta leave.
I'm kidding, Dan. I'm on board with you.
All right, good.
Just terrible. But yeah, so like I think
we talked about this.
Eric, if you keep it up, I'm going to throw you right in the puddle.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
But you can do that. There's no water there.
Okay, so
all right. So,
what do we have another topic, Nick?
Yeah, we have one more. We have one more in regards to Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay.
Do you guys think this will become the new benchmark for RPGs going forward?
Hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope so too.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if we get like 1,000 clones after this,
that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, I don't care. Just make it better and better. Maybe improve on a little bit here, a little bit there. I mean, because it's just going to happen.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. Is sometimes clones can actually be really fun. The amount of time I've spent on Diablo clones were actually really
I love that game. Yeah,
yeah, because clones usually mean that somebody did something right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you just have to look at all the like Halo's a classic series. Look at all the games that spun off of Halo that were still really, really good or took influence from Halo, or all the platformers that took influence from Mario or Sonic or any of the big franchises. Like, like you look back to when Skyrim came out, and then look at all the RPGs that came out after that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I just think I think Cyberpunk will be the new benchmark, barring any issues. But CD Projekt Red hasn't given me any reason to doubt them at this point, so they've got my trust and they've got me there day one. And no lack of puddles or bushes or anything will keep me from being there day one on that game. And we're moving right along because Sam's got that look in his face like he's gonna smack me when this show goes off air.
I just want them to give me like a first-person RPG that's actually good.
First-person RPGs are really hard to pull off. Actually, I don't know what it is, but there's first-person takes if it's not I know this is first-person shooter, but if you try to do something that isn't just a straightforward game in first person, it seems like it's a harder struggle to. How do I put this? You have to have more detail in your environment when you're in a first person perspective. Everything's got to be more like Arcane Studios has to. I give them unlimited amount of props when it comes to their game design, because Dishonored and Prey have some of the most immersive worlds.
Oh yeah,
that have been created
Dishonored
in a
is
video
awesome.
game setting. And
Dishonored is like one of my favorite franchises. I'm gonna jump into Prey at some point here, but I was just trying to sneak this Fallout just to mess with you. So never mind me.
You know, it's okay for me to slander stuff you guys like, but you guys can't slander what I like. That's not how this show works. I feel attacked.
Like
this is my safe space. All right, so we're gonna segue a little. I don't often talk NPDs on this show because I don't want to say I don't care, but numbers really don't mean a whole lot to me. However, NPD did release their mid-year report, and holy moly are people buying video games right now. Basically, everything is up by almost 40%, whether it's game accessories and hardware, software, just about everything is like the actual headset buys, like the amount of headsets sold this year versus last year at this time has literally doubled. Like the industry is astronomically booming right now, and people are buying. I was reading an article last week, and it said the average consumer back in 2017 was buying about 4.6 video games a year. 4.6. We all know how that works. Someone bought Mafia 3 and got that 0.6 number. But now they're saying that it's closer in the range of casual markets buying anywhere between 8.3 to almost 9 games a year.
That's a huge leap. That's a massive leap. I mean, that means gone are the days where it used to be someone would pick up Call of Duty and Madden, and that was it for the casual audience.
Right.
Well, we've seen it a bit this year, and a lot more with some games finding insane amounts of success. God of War is a fantastic example of a game that's got insane legs for good reason. It's just amazes me. It makes me so happy because I was such a big God of War fan going into that remake, and I was so worried about that game that people wouldn't like it because it wasn't, hack and slash, angry Kratos all the time, and I was kind of worried about it too. But that game turned out so great, but not only for it to become a critical success, but to also be such a huge financial success is just absolutely awesome. And being able to watch Corey just absolutely flourish and just be continuously happy on social media is it's absolutely fantastic. I've utmost respect for that studio. And we've seen even other games have flourished. Like Far Cry 5 did astronomical numbers this year. It's still the best-selling game of 2018 right now, which blows my mind. Monster Hunter World's another one. Look, Capcom's hit a gold mine with that game, bringing it to console outside of the Nintendo space.
Yeah.
It's just been a really good year of gaming. Now, the question I've got for you guys based off of these numbers, do you think people are buying more games now because there's better quality games out now? Or do you think it's because more people have gotten into gaming as a hobby because of casual experiences such as Fortnite and everything else blowing up over the past year?
A little of column A, a little of column B.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. Yeah, I was going to say the same.
That's probably right.
Yeah. Because I think you have saturation now. I think you have it at a point now where in the generation where like the consoles are so like cheap on the base level that, you know, they're pretty much in every household. Some people probably have two in their household. Right. And games are overall, except for like day one, are cheaper than they've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
So people are more pro to go out and grab XYZ, you know, along with their staple. Like Sam said, you know, for the longest, we just kind of like dismissed the casual market as GTA and Madden.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, GTA still in there, but you know what I'm saying? So, but I think it's also quality. I think they're just games now that just hit this benchmark that people look at it and you're like, I'm going to play that.
Yeah. It's great to see games outside of like shooty Call of Duty. Always
Don't try to skate past that, man.
Keep going. Just keep moving.
Like Call of Duty has always done it exceptionally well. Sports games have always done exceptionally well. Like back 3-4 years ago, basically top selling games was always Call of Duty, Madden, insert some other games here. But now it's like we've got Grand Theft Auto 5, which for some reason took second in MPD last month. Like, who doesn't own this game? Like, did they start selling?
This has been explained over and over. People are buying GTA 5 when they get an Xbox or a PS4. It literally happens. People buy a console and then they get GTA with it. It's like it's almost, if I remember correctly, we're hitting saturation points where GTA 5 is almost at a 1-to-1 ratio for the PS4 and Xbox One, which is insanity. But
that just blows my mind. I sat there and was like, all the games that came out last month and GTA 5's number 2. Really, guys?
It blows my mind. Yeah, it's every month too. It's not, you know, sometimes it's number 1, you know, and sometimes it's number 2, you know, but it's always like, you know, top 1, 2, 3. It's how many times can you buy a damn game? I mean, I understand that, you know, they're at this point, you think most people would have already bought it. And, you know, to your point, Sam, about them, you know, buying new consoles and they automatically get that game. Why are you buying a 4-year-old game or 3-year-old game or whatever the hell it is? There's so many other games out there. I mean, content-wise, it's huge, you know, and then the multiplayer is just insane. I don't play it, but there's so much you can do. I guess that would be one reason. If you're going to get one game and you want to do a lot of stuff, that'd be it.
Yeah.
Damn,
and what's crazy about it, because before people say, "Oh, it's got to be GTA Online," like all like you know, casuals and kids are picking it up, but most casuals and kids are like on Fortnite or PUBG or something like that.
Right.
So so what is it like? What's going on?
I have no idea.
Well, I see the thing that always floored me with GTA Online is we never got actual statistical numbers for what the player base is on GTA Online. Take-Two's never released them. Rockstar doesn't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at Take-Two's financial statements every quarter, the amount of money they make off GTA Online is literally criminal. They literally are laundering money from children, essentially. Because like it just blows my mind. It's like Fortnite with the like $1.56 billion. And literally it's like it's a free game. Like GTA is $60 and people are spending it, and they're like Fortnite is like it's insane. It blows my mind. And like GTA 5 is a good game. I enjoyed the campaign, and I own 3 copies of the damn game. I have it on 360.
Oh, you're part of the problem.
Oh yeah, you're in there.
Yeah, I am too. So let's not talk about that. Let's keep going.
Yeah,
I may own 1 or 2 or 3 copies.
yeah, exactly. See, this is a problem.
Yeah.
And Sam's saying they're gone. I don't own any copies.
No, I own 1.
I own one also.
See, I was a fool. I played it, beat it on 360, had a great time with it, had fun with online, went, I'm good on this game. And then they were like, oh, on Xbox One, you can play it in first person. I'm like, I can bottle my friends in first person? That's great.
That's me. Same here. I'm an idiot. Thank you.
Yeah, I was a sucker for that. But no, it's good to see it's good to see gaming as a whole getting more acceptable. And it's cool when I go into GameStop now. When I used to go into GameStop, it was all edgy, super edgy teenagers with multicolored hair and everything else. So I fit in really well in that time frame of my life. But like when I go into GameStop now, there's guys that are in their 40s, 50s picking up Call of Duty or picking up God of War. There's so many different types of people that go into GameStop now versus what it was 10 years ago. I think that's really awesome that the audience has branched into so many different things. It doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, or anything else. Video games is something we can all enjoy. Like, I tried to book off the 7th for Spider-Man, but there's literally 9 other people in my plant that booked it off for Spider-Man. Like, it's marked on my work calendar, like our calendar, it's marked Spider-Man, and like management had to make a notice because we had 26 people call in on God of War.
Holy cow!
Like I literally came in. I was like, "Where is everybody?" They're like, "Oh, we don't know." I'm like, "I bet I know."
I'm not sure, dude. I'm not sure what your plant is going to do when Halo Infinite and Last of Us Part 2 drop. There's not going to be a
Last of Us 2 anything. Everyone will be at work for Halo Infinite. I work with a bunch of Sony ponies, man.
But you guys remember a time where that was like Madden. People were like, people are getting the Madden flu.
I was that person, man.
Yep.
When Madden dropped, people were calling in sick. It used to hit the news and everything, like record sick days.
Yep.
I don't think it's like that anymore. Though.
I remember taking 2 weeks off for Black Ops 2.
Yeah, Call of Duty was another one.
Oh, yeah, good Lord, rough. The amount of time. Like, I remember sitting down, it was like Black Ops 2 came out. Me and my buddy, we bought like 6 cases of Mountain Dew, like 4 cases of Rockstar, and we literally sat in my friend's basement on rotation for like 13 to 14 hours a day just playing that game for 2 weeks. Like, it was terrible. I look back on it now, I'm like, how did I not die of a heart attack from all the Mountain Dew?
Yeah, man.
But
gamer fuel. Gamer fuel.
Yeah, it's so weird to see how it's changed, and like just the culture itself is like, you tell someone you play video games now, they're like, oh cool, I play video games too, or oh hey, my buddy plays video games. I remember back 10 years ago, you'd be like, oh, I play Call of Duty, and people were like, you play video games, nerd.
Right.
Well, that's the thing too. It's that escape that we all get from real life, and I think a lot of the people are kind of picking up on that, and that might be affecting the numbers as well, as talk about that. It's just, for me, that's what it is. Everybody's got problems. When I get to play video games, I get to kind of disconnect from everything for a little bit, and relax. And it's a really good form of relaxation, and I think maybe some other people have found that outlet, and the quality of games and everything we've talked about. But it's an awesome hobby.
Yeah.
Why would we do it?
Yeah, and that's real truth. I mean, outside of Twitter, when you look at Twitter, like I said before, if someone didn't game, but they were just getting into it, and they say, you know what, I'm going to go on Twitter and try to find like people who share the same interests. They probably be like, why did I do this? Yeah, I tell people all the time, like, stay away from Twitter, because if you, as a non-gamer, if you open the door, you'd be like, why are these people gaming? They all seem miserable.
We're too far gone. All of us.
But what Dan said is true. It's like, it's supposed to be like an escape, a calming, relaxing thing. And at the heart of it, it is, if you kind of like just unplug and ignore and don't let the Twitter side of it get you. But some of the people, you just look at them, you're like, why do you game? Because you seem to be aggravated by every aspect of it.
No, I don't get it. I don't get it at all, literally, because like I have some of these guys that talk the talk on Twitter all the time. They're on my PlayStation friends list or my Xbox friends list. And it's like I'll turn on a game on Friday night, I'll look at my friends list, and they're sitting at the home screen. And they sit at the home screen the whole night. And it's like they had, or I'll say, like, I'm not going to name names, but there was a guy that was on I used to follow on Twitter. He'd make like 10 outrage videos a week about a game. And then I'd go look at his playtime. Like he did State of Decay 2. He did a bunch of like rants about how terrible the game was and everything else. And when I checked his like gamer score card and so just wanted to see, I was curious to how far in the game he got. He didn't even get past the tutorial. Like, I don't know where he got his game footage, but he didn't even get the achievement for getting through the tutorial. So it's like people just want to be mad about something. And that's like, I feel like, well, some people use gaming as a stress relief. Some people come onto social media to get angry about something so they don't have to feel bad about what they're angry about in their real life. They get to take it out on someone else. We've seen a lot of that this week. A lot of it, and it's been some nonsense this week. Like I said, we're not going to talk about it, but I'm disappointed in a lot of people right now. I unfollowed 6 guys that I was really cool with because some of the stuff that they were saying about other people is just, there's a line. There's just a very clear line for me where it's like, why is this serious to you? And if it does upset you that much, log off of the app. Don't look at it.
Right.
Like I have a tendency, like I've got the word Spider-Man muted on Twitter right now.
Also
like,
puddles.
Yeah, puddles muted too.
That is my muted word for the week.
I've got puddle and Spider-Man muted.
It downgraded. I think I muted that too.
Yeah. Oh, well, don't do that because I'm putting that in my name for the Spider-Man launch week.
Oh shit!
It's like if you puddles and all of a sudden you have nothing on your timeline.
Wow, people are quiet this week.
Right.
Well, see, the thing is for me is I have a tendency, if people hype me up for a game and I'm disappointed by it, it hits that much harder. Like I couldn't play Last of Us because I got rid of my PS3 pre The Last of Us because it broke. I never bought another one. And then I had to wait to afford a PS4. So everyone kept telling me, oh, you got to play Last of Us. It's the best game ever made. It's the best game ever made. Best game ever made. And there was no possible way that it could have lived up to those expectations people set for it for me. And I kind of sat there and went, man.
Absolutely. This isn't very cautious.
So what I've done is when new games are coming out, whether it's Spider-Man, Forza Horizon 4, anything that's big that, you know, people get hyped and, oh, I got to talk about it all the time because it's my identity. When people get into those hype cycles, I just mute the words so I don't see it in my feed because I don't want other people not ruining my experience because you can still enjoy something, but you know what I mean? Like you get tired of seeing it or you get too into it and then it ruins the experience.
It's exhausting. You start to wonder, like, when are you actually playing anything? Because all I see is you on here, like,
talking
and bitching. Yeah. And, you know, not for nothing, like, you know, I'll say a few things on Twitter, but the downtime that I do have, I'm playing. I don't get a lot of it, so I don't have time to sit there and go through my timeline all day to see who said something negative about something that I like to fight with them the rest of the day.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like if I tweet something, my favorite thing to do is I'll get like lightly buzzed on a Saturday night. And in between game rounds on a multiplayer game, I'll tweet out something super edgy and then not check my phone for 24 hours.
Your phone's just sitting there like
just to check my no. The best one is when you know how you can sometimes you feel those tweets in your head that you can tweet them out and you know people will get really upset about it and you'll get a bunch of notifications. My favorite thing to do is because I work midnights and everyone starts getting on Twitter around 7 a.m., 8 a.m. I'll bookmark those tweets in my head and tweet them, put my phone on silent and go to bed. And then wake up and go, oh, I got 494 notifications. That was a good job. And I just swipe them to the right, and I never look at the post.
There you go. That's beautiful. Perfect. But you know what's great about that? If you were to look, I would guarantee you know when you send out a tweet, you know the culprits who are going to be the first to answer. which proves the point. When are you actually playing anything? Because you're like the first one to respond to my stupidity. And I'm intentionally being stupid or intentionally being like, obtuse or whatever you want to call it.
Out there.
Throwing out there. Yeah, nothing too edgy, but at the same time, nothing that's going to really, but it's the same people that always answer it.
See, me and Ivan the one night, I remember being in an Xbox party with Ivan. And I was like, we were doing like a pool of, if I tweet this out, who's going to be the first one to respond to it? And we had like a little list of people, and we put it in numerical order. So he'd tweet out something edgy, and we'd see if we could get in the proper reply order.
That's a great game.
It's a fun game.
Yeah. And you guys see, like lately, like most of my tweets, I just try to say something funny to make things light and make people laugh. And I've shared with you guys, like, what did I say that got this person so upset?
Man, you were a fool for that downgrade Xbox VT controller, though. You were a fool for that. I got home from work. I opened my phone. That's the first tweet I saw. I literally just logged right out of Twitter. I just went, nope, I'm not doing this today.
And the thing is, it's like someone still didn't get the joke. I'm like, it's a joke. It's meant to make you laugh, or just kind of make light of all the stupidity. And someone still got like triggered by it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why whenever someone gets super upset with me with a tweet, I just send them that picture of Tigger holding his head and it says Tiggered at the bottom. Usually either instantly diffuses the situation or they block me. Whichever comes first.
Which one I like is the Sam Jackson from Pulp Fiction sipping on the Sprite.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He's like, continue to tell me how stupid you are.
Good lord. All right, so the last topic is a little bit of a fun one. I always try to throw a fun topic at the end, keep it kind of lighthearted. If you could get one game that could get the Resident Evil 2 remake quality, like we're talking rebuilt from the ground up, look that amazing, everything else, and from what Sam played, it plays amazing too. I'm not jealous at all, but I hate you kind of a little bit sometimes.
That's my job, so yeah, I'll live with it.
Yeah, live with it. What game would you guys like to see make a comeback and be remade? That whether it's a big hit or even if it was a small game maybe no one's ever heard of or anything like that. Start with Dan. We'll start with Dan since he's the guest.
All right. So I thought about this quite a bit, and I didn't want to pick a game that was too recent, but I also didn't want to pick a game that was super obscure. So I kind of have two. My number one, if I could have something, and it's kind of cheating, but I would like to have a fully remastered, redone Mass Effect trilogy. It would be amazing. Just the whole thing. I mean, just do the whole thing, but keep the story, do everything else, and just do that. And be done. And then I'm good. I'm a huge BioShock fan, but that game is good enough as it is. It's perfect. The first Mass Effect needs touched up a lot. The second one can use some polish. Third one, same way, and just bring it into the current gen. Make it 4K and 60 FPS. You should be able to do that. It's not a very demanding game by any means.
Should be fun.
Gosh, make it look good. And I'd be done.
Yeah, seriously. Absolutely. Yeah. Mass Effect is one of my favorite series from last gen, dude. So I'm with you there. I can't even think about how many times I've replayed those games. It's crazy.
I always look at it on my list and I'm like, man, I need to go back and play this again because I haven't done it for 3 months. So it's one of those things where I'll just keep going back and playing it and back and playing it. And the other one that I thought about that was a little bit more obscure, but it's Parasite Eve for the original PlayStation. Love that game. Love that game. And I think they could do something very, very similar to Resident Evil 2 in that different engine. Looking back on it now, it's a little bit dated. I mean, it's a lot dated. Let's not even joke about it. I mean, it didn't get the best reception, but I really, really enjoyed that game. I'm not a huge horror game fan, so it's hard for me to play those kind of games. But when I'll play Resident Evil 2. I'm gonna try to anyway. But I literally made it through halfway through Evil Within 2. Then I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
Dude, no. Evil Within 2 is so good.
It was really, really good until I couldn't handle it anymore. I got a weak heart. You know, it's just bad news. I'm getting old. You know, who the hell knows what's going to happen? Something could pop out and I'm dead, and then I got to explain that to my wife and kids.
That or they show up, I feel like Bethesda would use that as a marketing tool. We killed Dan Rodriguez with a jump scare. And
that could happen. Or worse, like I said, I could show up and I'm sitting there in my own feces because I literally shit myself because it scared the crap out of me. I mean, that's what would happen. So that's why I stay away from those games. As much as I want to play them, I usually stay away from them, unfortunately. So,
oh man,
that's so good because I remember I'm a big baby when it comes to horror games. I'm like the worst for it. Like I'll play them, but I'm a whimpering, sniveling child while I play through them, and it's pathetic. I'm like 6'5" and 300 pounds, and I'm like fetal balling on the couch.
Yep.
Being like, please don't. I remember playing the first half an hour of Outlast. And I was like, all like the first half an hour, like basically nothing happens.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, I'm all like balled up, and like I've got the headphones on, and I'm like shaking uncontrollably. And my wife came up behind me and put her hands on my shoulders. I never almost died so hard in my life. I was like, nope, I can't do this. I never went back. I never finished it. After that, I was done. I was just like, I can't do this. Those are really good picks, man. Like those are solid picks. Parasite Eve, man. I want to play that now.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
I wonder if I can get that on there. You probably could. All right, so we'll jump to Eric.
Okay. My first would be Metal Gear Solid in Fox Engine.
Ooh.
Eric, you hit me right in my heart. Because if you just take Metal Gear Solid 5 out of that engine and put the old good ones in there.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, you could, like Dan said, you could take all of, even Metal Gear Solid 2. You know, I know people, that was controversial at the time, but if you did took all three, like Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3, hell, even 4, and just did put them all together and just rebuild them.
Mm-hmm.
That could be, I think that set would sell like crazy. Especially for the fact that now you could probably work at a deal where you can get it multi-platform.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since PS4 doesn't have back compat to PS3. Like, let's get Metal Gear Solid 4 off of that. Let's keep it from being stranded there.
Absolutely. So yeah, Metal Gear. I mean, if you can only do one, yeah, definitely Metal Gear Solid would be great to finally. I mean, I know they did the GameCube Twin Snakes, but it's not the same thing. Yeah, I'm talking about
the one for me that Metal Gear Solid 1, I liked. Metal Gear Solid 2, I actually like Metal Gear Solid 2, and in hindsight, all the flack the game got, if they realized what Metal Gear Solid 5 was going to be, they would not have complained about that game.
Right.
Right. But Metal Gear Solid 3, I feel like if they remade that, that'd be a great entry point for people into the franchise. Because that was like, how do I put this? It was the easiest one to get in and play. Like, just pick up and play and learn, and it was fine. The story was not as convoluted as some of the other ones. Right. Like, I got a little lost in 4. I'm not going to lie. I kind of sat there and was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And in 5, I was completely lost. Like, it was like, oh, this is Child Psycho Mantis. I'm like, what? Where did this guy come from? And then like all the other, right, so much confusion. But yeah, like the Fox engine, it pains me on a daily basis. I wake up screaming in the middle of the night knowing Konami has that engine, and it's just sitting on a server somewhere, and it's never going to be used for anything.
Yep. Yeah,
horrible.
They're good with doing water bottles in gymnasiums. So, yeah. Can I have 2 more?
Sure.
All right. Next would be Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Woo!
Let's get that bad boy on today's tech.
Yes.
Ground up. Let's go. And honestly, I would like to see Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda.
Ooh, yeah, that
Nice.
talk about a masterpiece that hasn't aged well.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I don't want any remaster on that. I'm talking about take it, build it from the ground up, and you can even build it with the Breath of the Wild engine. you know, and make it more open and make it, you know, with some of the things that they used in Breath of the Wild.
It would fit well with Breath of the Wild. For its time,
Yeah.
it was an incredibly open game. So
Right.
it would fit well with that engine.
Yep. So those will be my 3.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that makes it me now. So since Eric took Ocarina of Time and Dan took Mass Effect trilogy, wow, both of you. Okay, so I'll go for one remaster and one true like Resident Evil 2 remake level. Remaster, the Dead Space trilogy.
Ooh.
I went off because I am very much a horror guy. I love the Dead Space games. I've replayed them all so many times it's not even funny. Yeah, you bring those up to speed. Get them 4K, 60 FPS, better textures, the whole 9 yards. Just trilogy pack. I'm not sure why it hasn't happened. EA, for some reason, doesn't do remasters, but
right.
I don't know. It hurts me.
That one crossed my mind. That one crossed my mind too, Sam.
Didn't they do Burnout? Or is that Criteria? Who the hell did Burnout?
EA, that was Burnout. Yeah, that was.
Do it. They have no excuses not to do it. Really, any of those that we've mentioned so far.
Oh yeah,
because it would make them so much. Oh my gosh,
they are sitting on gold mines.
Yep.
But so my remake is going to be Coder, Knights of the Old Republic. Remains one of BioWare's finest games. Give that a modern engine. You know, just keep the story beats, keep the characters, keep everything. You can even remake the quest. Just bring it up to speed on modern hardware. That's all you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
So yes, those are mine.
Good. Hey, I have a question before we go forward, because Onimusha would have been in there for me, and I know we're getting an Onimusha remaster, but is that just simply a remaster of the original?
It's just a remaster, unless I'm horribly mistaken.
Right, because that could be another one that would be great as a rebuild. I'm just happy that they're doing something with it, because my hope is that they're actually considering returning to the franchise. So
hopefully they're putting their toe in the water.
Yeah, trying to gauge interest, you know?
Right.
Now, I've got a handful, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for some of these. I want the original Fallout trilogy, everything that was pre-Fallout 3, redone in Fallout 4's engine, because they had some of the best storytelling in that franchise is locked away on really janky old turn-based software. I'm playing the original one on Steam right now, circa 1998, I think. And it's got Ron Perlman as the voiceover. So
of course.
It's fantastic. But the story's so good. It's the only reason I can get through how terrible. Like, it has no controls. It doesn't show you how to play the game or anything. I literally sat there just mouse clicking and trying to hotkey stuff for like half an hour trying to figure out how the game worked. I'd like to see that come as a remake engine, because like so many people, my friends included, they're like, oh, I love that first Fallout game. I'm like, oh yeah, the one on the PC. They're like, no, Fallout 3. I'm like,
how do you even read that and go, yeah, that was the first one?
Yeah, like Fallout 3. Well, it's like people with Red Dead Redemption. They're like, oh, I can't wait for the sequel. I'm like, you mean the third one? Because Revolver was a thing.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that one I can understand, because there's no number following the title of the game. If you say Fallout 3, that was by default not the first one, you dipshit.
Kind of bearing the name.
Let's just get it right here. I mean, I understand what they're doing, but they're stupid. It's all right.
Another one that I've got a wish for that'd be a great remake, because once again, old, dated, and once again another Bethesda title, Morrowind. Ground up remake that game, because once again, some of it pains me, because not necessarily like Fallout 4 and Elder Scrolls 5 are the most popular Bethesda RPGs, but they're not their best ones. I will argue to the moon and back that Oblivion is miles better than Skyrim was. But you cannot go back to how janky looking. Like, if you go to Oblivion and you look at the character faces when you're doing the created character, it's hard not to cringe a little.
Right.
Like that like if they were to remake that and bring, I'd be so happy. I just want a giant Bethesda RPG again. Okay, I need it. I need it. And the only other thing to wrap up this topic, it's not a remake or anything. I need another Baldur's Gate game. Like, just give it to me, all of it, right now. I will never shut up about Baldur's Gate 2. Sam can co-sign this because I think I've brought it up in the past 7 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing game, man. It's an amazing game.
I never played it.
I'm one of those people that doesn't replay games. I beat a game, I'm like, wow, that was a really great experience. I really enjoyed that. I've beat that game 7 times in my lifetime. And it's not a fast game to complete. It takes, I think on average, even if you rush it, it's at least 150 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. Back when I got it on PC originally, it was a 10-disc game on PC.
You're like, well, I'm going to make a sandwich and time to get installing.
It would be you'd be traveling to a region. It'd be horrible because disc 1 was the start area, so you'd be doing stuff there, and you'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go to this area. You'd click on it, you'd go travel there and be like, please insert disc 8. You'd be like, oh, okay, and then you travel somewhere from that point. It'd be like, insert disc 4. You're sitting there juggling all these discs, trying to it was hilariously comical.
Right.
Trying to juggle all the discs. I remember losing my mind because my sister moved my Baldur's Gate discs at one point. I was at the end of the game, and for 3 months I couldn't find the last disc I needed. It was disc 9 or something, and it was tucked under the desk or something. I lost my mind because I couldn't progress the last area because I was missing a disc, and I couldn't afford to spend $70 to buy the whole game again.
Wow, man.
But I would love that game. I would love that game even if they ported the old game to console. It would not be hard to button map it for controllers, and more people need to play that game because whenever I talk about Baldur's Gate 2, everyone just get if they're in their 30s and 40s, they're like, oh yeah, that was a really great game. I'm talking to guys my age, they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, y'all don't know nothing. They're like, oh yeah, the best RPG of all time is Final Fantasy insert number here. I'm like, shut your mouth. Don't know nothing.
It's shut up before I smack you one.
So yeah, that's the show basically. We did have a few Q&A questions I gotta pull up here.
Oh, I have one more that I would like to see redone.
Oh, perfect, because I gotta put her the thing.
Splinter Cell, Pandora Tomorrow, Chaos Theory.
You had to bring up Splinter Cell one more time, didn't you?
I'll take them all.
Yep, same here, man. I know, dude. I know it's a sore spot. But damn. Yeah.
I'm still stinging from this E3. It was the one thing that everyone was sure, oh yeah, that'll happen.
Right. And I can't believe we're gonna probably exit 2018 with no mention of Splinter Cell.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Sad, man.
Really is.
All right, so I won't say who sent in the questions because some of these questions are going to be super obvious for Dan. Okay, so
all
right. So first one, Dan, how do you feel about Oxenfree?
Man, let me tell you. Here's the thing. I'm gonna do a stream where I play through that whole game, and it should be the most sad, hilarious thing you've ever seen in your life. Because there are several games that I did not enjoy. There are certain games, this being the top, that I really, really wanted to go to whoever developed this game and punch them in the nuts hard. I hated it so much. I played for 2 hours, and I can't stand the stupid teenage angsty crap. And it was so sitting around a fire talking. Shut up! I don't want to hear it. God, it's so bad. That game, Life is Strange, the first one, the prequel or whatever. I played something. Shut up! Just stop. I don't need to see this stuff. I see enough of it on TV, and I hate it there too. I just want to play a game where I don't need to dive into your fucking feelings and get lost in a cave and go sit on a beach and like, I'm 17, I'm edgy because I'm drinking beer. Shut up! Everybody does that when they're 17. Not just you. That's how much I remember. I remember you start off on a boat, and then it just got worse, and that was it. And I hate it. I hate it.
See, Dan's gonna enjoy this because probably next weekend I'm actually gonna do a Life is Strange stream, and every time they say something cringy, I'm gonna do a shot. I'm gonna see if I die of alcohol poisoning by the first episode. I'm right there. I like heavy-handed storytelling. I tell you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So bad. Like just smacks you over the side of your face over and over and over again. Like I don't care. I don't care about your stupid problems. You fake stupid problems because you're a stupid game. Like, yeah, it's just don't. It's not. I want to play a game. I mean, I'm all about a good story. I'm all about having a good time. This game just punches me over and over again in my happy place and makes it a sad place. That's what it does. I can't stand it, but I'm going to stream it. I think I'm going to do a stream and just get through it and just be done. Then I can say I finished it, and I can say, hey, I've played all the way through. I can still have these feelings. Not that it matters. So I'm still going to have these feelings about that game for the rest of my life. So that's it. So that's how I feel about it.
Total pain.
Yes.
Now, I've been wanting to hear. Every time I listen to Digital Hoarders, it always comes up about Oxenfree, and they never let you go on about it. I'm so glad I got the opportunity to hear it.
There it is.
Do you feel better? Do you feel vented?
I feel a little bit better. I still hate it.
Good.
Yes.
The follow-up question: who is your favorite co-host on Digital Hoarders?
That's some bullshit. Who asked that question? Was that you? Is that? No, that was probably
that was Alden. That was
Alden. Okay. All right. I'm going to say, because I know those two. Well, it's just going to get me in trouble. I'm going to say Doc, just because he hasn't been on the show for a few weeks, and I miss him dearly. So, and plus he has the best like follow-ups, I guess. Like I'm notorious for it. Like, we sat there one time and I made a stupid ass comment about, we were reading a list and I was trying to say, Chloe Moretz, whatever, and I wrote it wrong, and I said Choli. Now that's all I ever get. So, but Doc does the same stuff like all the time. Like he uses, he said like Airy Dare one time instead of Derriere. It's stuff like that. I can relate to that. So I'm gonna say Doc is my favorite co-host. So suck on that, Alden and Brandon. I love you guys.
We're gonna see the next episode of Digital Hoarders. It's gonna be Alden and Brandon sitting there with their arms crossed, looking pissed.
But Doc still won't be there, and we'll be sad.
Oh man. We also have. Let me drift through here. Ooh. To counteract that question, someone asked, "What is your favorite game of this generation so far?"
Ooh,
wow. The easiest thing to say is probably Witcher 3, because
my man.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's just so good, but there's so many. I mean, I would say like my favorite game of all time is BioShock, and then
my man.
Well, I mean, it is. That's my avatar. That's my everything. I mean, that's what I do. That's my favorite game. It's my gamer tag is Rapture. So it's, but I would say this generation, just for content and just good story and just good everything. I think The Witcher 3 was probably my number one. I'd probably put more hours into that than any other game. Even though Metal Gear Solid 5 was super close for some reason. I still don't understand that whole deal. But, I mean, I really didn't know I put that many hours into it until one of the guys said, "Hey, you put 300 and something hours into Metal Gear Solid 5." I said, "How the hell did that happen?" I said, "It must have been a lot of sneaking around or me leaving my controller sitting there for hours."
No, that was just the cinematics.
That might be. You might be right.
That's just the cinematics of sitting in a Jeep without a conversation, so you can have a 4-minute vocal track play in the background.
That will go down as one of the weirdest things in a AAA game of all time. I don't get it.
I don't get anything.
But to be fair, I could say I don't get it, and you could apply it to like 98% of that game. Just jump to a random point. I don't get it.
See, I was at the point there with that game. I was like, okay, this is, let's see if he can do this and make it some kind of, make it make sense. And he failed. Well, he did okay for about maybe 30-40% of the game, and I was like, okay, I'm getting this. This is all right. And then you got to about that point where it's just like, what the hell just happened? Who's this naked chick dancing around for no reason? Or whatever. Yeah, and then it just got weirder after that. But I had to see where it ended, and I was really, really disappointed. And I wasted a lot of valuable gaming time on that terrible game. So.
See, to wrap this up, because that's a majority of the questions. There were some that I had to filter out because they were inappropriate.
Oh dear.
Primarily Brandon.
Brandon?
That doesn't surprise me.
No, that's
not one bit.
I will say the moment for me with Metal Gear Solid 5 where I just sat there and went, what is this? So I did the whole hospital escape. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. The supernatural things there, like it always is. It's kind of interesting. I'm like, okay, kid's Psycho Mantis, I guess. So this timeline's a little bit more convoluted than I thought it was going to be, but I can live with this. I can deal with this. And that's you're rescuing, God, I can't remember his name. You're rescuing the guy from the village, and then the supernatural soldiers come out of nowhere. And they're like, you're on horseback, and they're like running after you and pulling guns out of their hands. I'm like, what is this? What? They're like, they're infected. I'm like, infected with what? 3D printers?
Yeah.
Like
they were
Kojima disease. No sense. I couldn't. It was just like,
Nick's like,
and then people are like, oh, you need to go back and finish it. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't.
No.
Oh, well. Dan got to rant about Oxenfree. I got to rant about how convoluted Metal Gear Solid 5 is.
So bad.
So this has been a really, really good episode. I want to thank Dan for coming out. It was good having you on.
It was a good time, guys. I appreciate it. Anytime, let me know.
Right on. So we're going to do our outros here. Sam?
You can find me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. I'll be happy to talk about movies, games, tech, TV shows. Most of what I do is I retweet news or reviews or opinion pieces from Tick. You can check out what I write on tickgamesnetwork.com. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's right on right there. Eric.
Yeah, it's been another great show. Always love talking to you guys and being here. Dan, thanks for coming on. You can find me Wednesday night on Brat Podcast with Tick's very own B Money, Enrique, and Slow Mo. And that's at 9 o'clock. And yeah, and another net on Twitter. At EC Jackson for the next.
And Dan, where can people find you?
My normal answer for this is usually right here, but that doesn't really hold water this week. So you can find me on Digital Hoarders with Alden and Brandon and Doc every Friday night. Now we switch to Friday nights at 7 Eastern-ish. Maybe it's 6 Eastern. I don't remember. It changes. I'm also on Season Gaming Podcast. We do a show every 2 weeks on the weekends. Usually goes up on Monday. And actually, next week, we are having Your Own Rage Virus X on our show. I hope he told you that, because otherwise I feel like an idiot right now. So,
he didn't mention anything to me about it, but I saw Ainsley tweeting about it. Yes. I recently followed him. Really, really fantastic guy.
Super good dude.
Really, really jealous of his gaming setup, though.
I'm going over to he lives right by me, so I'm going over to his house. I think I might do it Monday. We might go out. We got a thing called Draftcade where it's got old arcade games and beer. Might go over there and check out his place and then never leave because it's so nice. So nice.
Right on. So I left the link to Dan's Twitter and the Digital Hoarders stuff down below. I'll get the stuff for Season Gaming as well down there when I upload this later. Also have a quick mention. I had to pull it up on my phone. So if anyone's familiar with Mike P. The Truth from Multiverse Show, he's going to be doing a series of charity live streams for ovarian cancer. For people who don't know, his wife's ovarian cancer survivor. So he's going to be doing some live streams, and you guys can check it out. 100% of donations will go to the charity. I have a direct link for the charity. It's in the description of this video. So if anyone wants to donate, that's just part of the awesome charity stuff that's going on this month. This podcast itself will actually have something going on in November towards the Christmas time frame. But I'm still working out details on that. So really awesome of Mike. I wish him the best. I'll bring it up every episode for this month. And yeah, so keep an eye out for that. We've got some great guests lined up over the next couple of weeks. Jared will be back next week, hopefully with us. And yeah, it should be a really, it's going to be a busy month. So everyone get ready for that. Next week is going to be a mixture of topics because we're going to give our impressions on Spider-Man because that comes out one day before the podcast. We're going to do a brief.
Oh, yeah, it would. That's right.
I'm like, this is the one release date I know, Sam. This is the
spoiler-free impressions, so don't worry, anybody.
Yeah. So we'll get the cast impressions, and because we had a very passionate conversation, we're going to talk about our concerns for Anthem. We're going to talk about that and our preview on Spider-Man next week. So that's really exciting. Keep an eye out. There's going to be some things popping up on the Gaming Perspective Twitter. That's also linked in the description below. Make sure you give that a follow, keep up on the latest. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Gaming Perspective podcast. We will be live next week at 8-ish p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, really hope to see you all next week.